Today we are going to talk about money, but not about how to earn it. We are going to talk about why money does not stay with most people. The truth is that most people are not poor. They simply do not know how to hold money. A person can work harder than others, be smart, responsible, and disciplined, and still live at the same financial level for years. The reason is not the economy, not the country, and not the boss. The reason is behavior and mindset that quietly but consistently drains any income. The most dangerous part is that this pattern feels normal. People say money comes and expenses always appear. This is just how life works. But this is not a lifestyle. It is financial instability disguised as normality. When money disappears quickly, the brain gets used to living in tension. It does not plan. It reacts. It thinks about today, not tomorrow. And even if income increases, the pattern stays the same because the person has not become someone who can hold money. Money does not stay where there is no internal system. Throughout this video, we will break down why some people always have a reserve, even with an average income, while others are always at zero, even when they earn more. And if you feel that money slips through your fingers, that it never lasts for long, this video is not really about finances. It is about you and about what exactly prevents you from holding on to money. I want to tell you one story because this is exactly how life looks for most people who cannot hold on to money. His name was Daniel. He was 38 years old. He had a normal job, a stable income, and from time to time, he even earned more than many people around him. He was not irresponsible. He did not gamble. He did not drink. He did not live wildly. But money never stayed with him. When his income increased, his expenses increased as well. When he received a bonus, it disappeared within a few weeks. Daniel constantly said the problem was prices, the country instability, and that now was not the time to save. He lived from paycheck to paycheck and believed this was normal for his age. The most interesting part started when he had extra money. He felt tension, as if money itself did not allow him to relax. He started thinking that it had to be used urgently. Buy something useful, treat himself, close small desires, help someone. Because while the money was sitting there, it felt uncomfortable. As soon as his account became almost empty again, a strange sense of relief appeared. This sounds illogical, but this is exactly how the mind of a person who is not used to having a financial buffer works. Daniel grew up in a family where money was always lacking. Adults constantly said that money was a problem, that it disappeared quickly and could not be relied on. And Daniel's brain absorbed one simple model: money does not stay long. When he became an adult, this model continued to operate unconsciously. He did not realize that he himself was creating situations where money disappeared. He only felt anxiety when money was present and spent it to remove that anxiety. Another important moment: when people around talked about saving or building a reserve, Daniel felt internal resistance. He said he did not want to live with restrictions, that life is meant to be lived now. But in reality, this was protection, because the idea of holding money required him to change his identity, to stop being a person always on the edge, and become someone who plans and takes responsibility. And that was frightening. The real turning point came when Daniel suddenly lost his job for several months. He had no reserve, not even a minimal one. He had to borrow money, and for the first time truly felt vulnerable. That was when he realized something painful. The problem was not income. He had earned enough for years. The problem was that he had never learned how to be a person who can hold money. He did not have internal permission for stability. This story matters because it is not really about Daniel. It is about millions of people who live the same way. They honestly believed that if they earned more, everything would change. But even when income grows, the same script plays again. Because until a person changes their relationship with money, money will not stay. And this is where real work begins, not with the wallet, but with behavior. Now let us break down the most important part: how a person actually becomes someone who can hold money, and why this has nothing to do with willpower or extreme saving. The first thing to understand is that people who hold money do not start with restrictions. They start with structure. They clearly know how much they need for basic living. how much they can spend without damage, and how much must remain. This is not about control through fear. These numbers create safety. When the brain sees clear boundaries, tension decreases, and the urge to spend money to calm emotions disappears. The second key principle is the pause between desire and purchase. A person who cannot hold money acts impulsively. They spend to remove an emotion, fatigue, anger, emptiness. A person who holds money always creates a pause, even a short one. This pause allows the brain to exit the emotional state, and very often the desire to spend simply fades. The third principle is automation. Money stays not when you constantly think about it, but when the system works without emotions. A person who holds money arranges things so that part of the income is saved automatically, right away, not at the end of the month. Because at the end of the month, there is always a reason to spend. The fourth principle is refusal to play the victim role. People who cannot hold money often say, "Now is not the time, conditions are bad, later will be better." But a person who holds money acts in the conditions that exist. They do not wait for the perfect moment because it never comes. The fifth principle is responsibility for small things. Money usually disappears not because of big decisions, but because of hundreds of small, unnoticed expenses: coffee delivery, subscriptions, impulse purchases. A person who holds money knows their weak points and either limits them or makes them conscious. The sixth principle is internal permission to have money. Many people subconsciously fear having money because a reserve means responsibility, choice, and the ability to change life. And that is scary. A person who holds money accepts the idea that stability is not boring, it is safe, and that having a financial buffer is not greed, it is self-care. One more critical difference. A person who holds money does not try to prove their status through spending. They do not live for appearance. They live for inner calm. And this completely changes behavior. When money stops being a way to reduce stress or prove value, it starts staying. And it is important to understand this does not happen in 1 month. It is a process. But every step in this direction changes not only finances, but also the sense of control over life. Because a person who holds money is a person who does not live on the edge. And from this moment, financial stability stops being a dream and becomes a habit. To finish, I want you to pay attention to one important moment that most people miss. Until a person changes their behavior with money, nothing will change, even if income grows. There are clear signals that show the current model is not working. If money runs out before the end of the month, if any unexpected expense causes panic, if you do not know the exact amount you have, if you avoid checking your balance, if every new income immediately finds a way to disappear, this is not bad luck. This is a system working against you, and systems can be changed. I want you to understand that people who hold money are not better and not smarter. They simply learned one thing earlier. They stopped living in survival mode and started living in control. This is not about extreme saving. It is about calm predictability and choice. When a person has a financial buffer, not only the bank account changes, the inner state changes. There is less anxiety, more confidence, and more freedom to decide. And the most important part is that this can be done at any income level, starting small. People often wait for the perfect moment, a better salary, more stability, better conditions. But the truth is, the moment will not come until behavior changes. This channel exists so you notice these things earlier, not when financial decisions already limit your life. If you subscribe, you will receive clear, deep explanations without moral pressure, without shame, and without myths about money mindset and stability. Most people live for years thinking something is wrong with them, when in reality, no one ever explained how this model works. I want you to be among those who understood in time and stopped losing money, not because of circumstances, but because of habits.